Mamy spojrzenie na problemy świata cyfrowego w wymiarze globalnym, mamy spojrzenie na problemy świata cyfrowego w wymiarze polskim, a także opis szans, możliwości, które przed nami stoją w najbliższych latach dzięki środkom unijnym, ale po to, żeby rozumieć ten zmieniający się świat, potrzebne nam są różne punkty odniesienia. Myślę, że taki punkt odniesienia zaprezentuje pan profesor Hwang z Korei Południowej, z Narodowego Uniwersytetu w Seulu, People, Technology, Development. Człowiek, technologie, rozwój. The floor is yours, Mr. Professor.
Dziękuję. Well, I'm greatly honored to be in this Warsaw, Poland. Well, I'm a professor in the Seoul National University, which is actually national and public university. Well, as an educator or the professor, I ask a lot of questions. Well, so I'm going to ask questions among us. The first question I'm going to start with is, what is Sector 3.0 for us? Well, that first question actually reminds me with the sign you have. So the sign you have, we have several ways. You see these as a finger pointer, or you see these as an arrow, right? Well, what is that? Oh, where is our next directions? Or where is our new innovation? Or where is our new idea? Where we have been dreaming. I think good value about Sector 3.0 is let us to think and be together to build a society where we have been dreaming for. Why? We now have a liberty. We now have a freedom. We now realize how important people are and the Poland. That was an answer to me about the question of what is Sector 3.0. Secondly, if I'm asking another question, the second question, what is hashtag or MoreDigital? Well, how about you? What is MoreDigital for you? Maybe that's why I'm here. Well, I'm an author of the Digitalogy, which is currently written in Korean, but I promise you I'll be writing in not only English, in Polish, with my honor being here. Digitalogy is about the story about digital, or sometimes we call digitalogy. So it is for everything. But if I'm going to share some stories about MoreDigital today. First story I'd like to share with you is actually some question that many people ask. So maybe one child asked German, the English politician, and asking him what is MoreDigital by the river of Thames. And that politician actually answered that to that child, oh, it is for election. You know that? So then secondly, that child traveled long way, and going to Germany by the river of Rhine and asking some business person and asking, what is MoreDigital for you? That very tall German businessman say, oh son, that is economy. Okay, and then that child actually traveled to Greece, and asked Greek philosopher And what is more digital for you? And that Greek philosopher told that child, well, ego, what that means, ask yourself. Well, that reminds me, oh, okay, self, ego. Okay, then that son actually traveled by the river of Wisła, Warsaw, Poland, and has asking one citizen, and what is more digital for you? And that man said to that son, oh, it's ever and everyone. Okay, well, what's the ever for everyone? I believe more digital. Actually, let the people think about the future, and let the people think about everything. Well, think about it. What is digital for you? It is starting with 0 and 1. By the convergence of 0 and 1, it represents everything. It tries to represent different technology, analog or digital, but into the form of bits. Right? There's a certain unity that it tried to make the people to communicate. It tried to make the people to think together. It tried to make the people to dream. So probably, if you ask me that what is more digital, I'll be with Polish citizen. That's ever and everything. Okay, that is my starting today. So maybe, do you see? Yeah. That was first story I'm gonna share with you. And the second story about the more digital, for me is, digital gives different development or different technology. So what I'm gonna share with you is what I experienced, especially in Korea. Well, Korea has been known with a certain development, what people call the miracle of the Han River. But also there's a good part of the things or lessons that people learn, but also there are certain dark side that people are facing. So what I'm going to share with you is not just only the good part of it, but some lessons. And second story is another more digital with you. Well, digital with the bytes, right? Sometimes one byte is actually represented with 7 bits and with the parity. So I'm going to share with some 7 meanings, which is the number of the digital. Okay? Well, maybe how many of you have been in Seoul, Korea? Some people, not, well, still I'm 14. Okay, that's okay. Well, that was 100 years ago. But that was a center of Seoul, which currently the Bank of Korea is located on your left side of the picture shows that's the vicinity of the Bank of Korea. And on the right side of the thing, what you see is the street in the Jongno, and which is another big street in Seoul. But the meaning of that part is that's the time that Korea adopted some technology from the Western. You see some electricity or some electric, sort of very small train, nearby. But that's the time also Korea lost some old, tradition, which was actually the beginning of colony of Japanese imperialism. Probably, I think that was 100 years ago. So you don't see that many people on the street yet, 100 years ago. Well, that's just, back to another 50 years. So that was 1954, like exactly 60 years in general. But on the left side, you see that is the nearby one. In Seoul, there is actually a mountain that we call just South Mountain, Namsan. and that is the vicinity of the South Mountain, and there's some some building or commercial site, but you see some military trucks. On the right side, you see Gimpo area, which was our old international airport, but which was the former base, air base of the US Army or US military base. So what you see is Korea experienced a war, a tragedy, a terrible war we experienced. And just dust left right after that. And that's the time you see, like when also the World War II started in Europe, especially in Warsaw, right, by the invasion. So we share the same experience in a certain way. Well, that gives me, what is history? Well, that is just a year ago, okay? On the left side, you see a stream of the river. In the center of downtown, we call the Cheonggyecheon. That's the place where people used to do laundry or the washing clothes, or just kids playing around. But sometimes, but later on, very polluted and very dirty stream. But now it's been recovered as a certain very modern area where people do some kind of festival and gathering together, in the middle of all the buildings. On the right side is another part of the Seoul where we call the Ulji-ro. So that part is you see the bunch of people just taking care of their health, doing marathon. And marathon used to be very foreign to Asian, especially Korean, but now become very universal and they enjoy daily. But what it gives me is actually people are now in a place that they share the technology or history, certain development. So development or technology, maybe about the meaning of the people, has been very narrow aspect like 100 years ago. But now you see in Korea, after 100 years back, the meaning of the technology or meaning of the people, meaning of the development has a little bit open meaning, which means you actually cover it. It's not only bounded by the nationality, not only bounded by certain technology. So maybe that's the story. Well, this graph shows sort of some economic value. I'm not going to talk about the money aspects out of it, but there has been very rapid growth. Some people say it's more than 1,000 times in terms of a certain monetary value, or sometimes. But through that development, our life become very convenient. But sometimes our life become also very human lost. And so our sort of understanding about the previous development in our stage was actually we experienced after that development as a militarism actually came over and a lot of digitization and ICT development in place. And ICT or digital has played a lot of important role in Korea, especially making a community and also, but at the same time also changing the lifestyle. Well, this is the keyword probably you may hear in this Sector 3 in a workshop. But also this is the keyword you may hear from many of the technology innovative people. And what I see, these are some of the some keyword that represent what is the smart or smart. I will call we are living in the innovation of the smart, either technology or smart law or smart government. And we are all asking about what is the smart. Well, there are a lot of government actually led it practices done in the very short history of the 30 years. Well, 10 years ago, the commercialization of the internet actually was in place and also impacted a lot for the human society in Korea. And also just like 2010 was where the smartphone also changed the life of the people. This is not Korean data, but this is the data from United States, which actually shows the productivity in comparison to the real median of the family income, which is the national or the individual happiness or individual welfare. So there's a little bit big gap, and that gives me to think where the people's value situated. Are we isolated by technology, or are we the owner of the technology? So I'm not going to explain all about it, but what you see with the smartphone symbol, that was representing some technology, and you see the human in the brain, and next to you see the these leaves that is representing certain development. Well, technology and development are all for human, all for life, right? And I believe the sector point 3 actually represent some of that is very important and fundamental value. One of the probably very new way of innovation I will share with you, also you may hear in this conference, was inclusive innovation. So inclusive innovation is the concept where you don't need to change everything. You still keep the aspect of the tradition. You still keep probably the lifestyle of the individual, but you still keep the use of the technology or smart. Maybe like a live store in the cases where people actually do the small scale purification for the people that just using a cup and purify it and use it, but without the facility. And Q-drum are the cases that where the easy water transportation can take place. And some of reusable energy solution. Those are some of the cases that people are dreaming for. Well, but in the world, we are actually suffering, and also we are experiencing some of the common issues. Some of the things are destruction of the nature. Some of the loss of the diversity. Some of them are success of the aging, which is good, but at the same, which is the challenge. But among them is actually that allows us to think, how we manage all these. We will call, or I will call these is like how we to create the shared value among us. Maybe technology can play a certain role to do that. These are the sort of ecosystem view. Technology cannot solve the problem we are facing by itself. There's a really fundamental effort that how we make the people to be mature enough and smart enough to manage or become the owner of those technology. I believe the meaning of sector 3.3 is like that. Well, I'm gonna actually, I'm not gonna talk all in detail, but I'm gonna show you what are the efforts that how the people try to actually solve. So I made actually 7. So these are not only the opportunity for the ICT or for the MoreDigital, but these are also some of the lessons that shows what is the problem that people are actually trying to solve. What you see is this is one of the cases that the public sector of the education in Korea is actually developed. This is like a public spaces where the teacher and students upload and download and the educational material and share all of that. So which create another innovation of the new curriculum development, and this is well in place in the national level. I believe you will see some of the web link, and which will show some of the innovative value. This is probably another sector that you may see as one of the very industrial complex area, but which has been polluted for the last 30 years. Now that we actually use some of the sensor technology to monitor some of the pollution and to recover from all of this polluted area. That is some of the effort that we are doing. And this is a very common scene. When you go to the hospital, most of the doctor show with these, all these information. And this, gives, all the patient feel very well educated by those, So it's like you going to a school and learn very specific professional knowledge by the aid of these kind of, the health system. This is when you go to the palace and for the travel, you can just grab your smartphone and see all the historic lessons out of it. That is probably something, and that changed the way how you travel. Especially when you go to Korea, be prepared with your iPhone or Galaxy. Well, that will give a link to the manual lessons for your traveling. Well, this is another dream that people are thinking, that when you go to the farmers occasion, and then they manage all these things. The lifestyle changes. Most of the civilian people like me wants to live after 50 or 60s, whereas a new way of living. So, but actually the knowledge and everything make them very difficult to move over. But with this kind of innovation, where the the novice people still can learn how to do farm and move over from the educator to become a truly new farmer, and that is another transformation that people are looking for. And I have two more slides. Another one is this is the game page where our kids or people do game, but during that game gives a certain donation to the people. The rice or pack of rice will be given as you get the pointer when you win the game. The meaning of the game actually makes a difference people to think. And the motivation of doing game is not just only fun. Be part of the world. And that actually gives another spirit. And maybe this is the one of the favorite slide Jasinski actually loved. And this is the slide that where we have a local market that traditional merchants and actually give a lot of new information marketing, but through the smartphone technology, smart technology. So well, you don't need to buy new computer. You don't need to buy new connections. You don't need to buy a new application. This is just the only way that the normal merchant or normal just person in that traditional market can start some very innovative way of providing information and marketing to the people. And I believe that will play a lot for that. So this is probably my last story of what is more digital. Well, digital actually plays a very important value, actually gives us some meaning. What is trust? What is love? What is identity? What is respect? What is giving? Or what is sharing? Or what is vitalization? I believe probably some of the effort that what we do in Sector 3 will truly make not only the Polish very smart, but also humanity will be very smart, which actually reinforce and so also re-innovate the value of a human understanding about where we are living. I hope with my words and also our effort, our today's effort actually really become some sort of actuator or the beginning of the miracle of Visual River. Thank you very much.